In our days of advanced technology, not only have new concepts entered our lives, but new words have entered our vocabulary. Going viral no longer means coming down with a disease, though perhaps that would be preferable. A text may no longer refer just to a verse in the Bible or the contents of a speech. Spam is no longer a rather disagreeable food of questionable content oozing out of a tin can. Then there is the selfie. Now, for those of you my age and older, a selfie is a type of self-portrait photograph, often taken with a handheld digital phone, sometimes at arm's length and sometimes pointed into a mirror. Selfies are often sent instantly to other people, and many a celebrity has come to regret sharing an intimate selfie with what they thought was to be one and only one special person. Boy, were they wrong. All sorts of people now, from the Pope on down, are taking selfies and thinking that they are being so terribly modern. Selfies have actually been around a long time. Robert Cornelius, an American pioneer in photography, produced a daguerreotype of himself back in 1839. That picture has come down to us. It is also one of the first photos of a human being. Now, back then, the process of taking a picture was so slow and complicated that he was able to remove the lens cover and then run over and pose for the picture for about a minute before running back and replacing the cover on the lens. Teenagers seem to be particularly fond of taking selfies these days. They're in good company. Perhaps the first teenager to do so was the Grand Duchess Anastasia, daughter of the last Tsar of Russia. At age 13, back in 1914, she pointed the camera at herself in the mirror and sent that image to a friend. I doubt that she texted it or posted it on Facebook, but she mailed it to a friend, along with a letter saying, "It was very hard for me to take this picture because my hands were trembling." I wonder how many today feel their hands trembling as they do the same. Perhaps they should. But it may come as quite a surprise to us that the first selfie was produced many centuries before the invention of the camera. The original selfie has come down to us and is preserved to this day in the Cathedral of Torino in Italy. This is a most unusual and baffling photographic image known as the Shroud of Turin. It is said that no artifact in all of human history has been studied more than the shroud. This is a piece of ancient linen on which appears the image of a man's body, front and back. All indications are that it was a burial shroud. The man bears the marks of a very severe scourging, a crucifixion, a pierced heart, and a wounded head. The latest scientific testings show it to be from between 300 BC and 400 AD. Now, there's nothing unusual about an image of a crucified body. We see it all the time in Christian art. Such images hang on crosses in churches and homes throughout the Christian world. What is baffling about this is that it was not painted, nor was it produced by any process known to science. It appears to have been created in a split second by a sudden burst of incredible energy and light from within, much like some surreal photographic process. The details on the shroud are not easily distinguishable by the naked eye. These details were first observed after the advent of modern photography. In 1898, an amateur Italian photographer by the name of Secondo Pia was allowed for the first time to take a photograph of the Shroud of Turin. After he did so, he went back to his darkroom, and there he was astonished to see what appeared on the negative plate. On the negative appeared not a negative image, with the light and the dark reversed, but rather a positive image, a regular, real, positive photograph of a man in complete and very clear detail. This means that the shroud itself is the negative, a real photograph. Truly extraordinary. Physicists studying the shroud with the most advanced methods continue to make baffling discoveries. It has been found that at the time the image was created, the body appears to have been hovering in mid-air between the top and the bottom of the shroud. Time and space were suspended in that instant, and the normal laws of physics were shattered. This moment belonged not to time and space, but to eternity. The unbelievable phenomenon of the shroud is being studied as a possible key to understanding the Big Bang that created the universe itself. What was it that caused this amazing photographic negative to appear on a burial cloth 1800 years before the invention of photography? The more it is studied, the more apparent it becomes that something extraordinary and unique happened here to create this image in an infinitesimal instant that exploded time and space, something which burst the bonds of gravity and perhaps the boundary between life and death itself. Something powerful and unique in all of history happened in that tomb. Who is this man whose image appears to us on the shroud? What was it that caused this extraordinary burst of light and energy? As in all such cases, the Church makes no claims, neither endorsing nor rejecting it, but quite prudently leaves it to the further study of science. Cardinal Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, wrote that the shroud is truly a mysterious image which no human artistry was capable of producing, and which in some inexplicable way appeared imprinted upon cloth, and is believed to show the true face of Christ, the crucified and risen Lord. It is indeed a mystery. This original Selfie, is the man on the shroud the one we know as the Christ? And was it the awesome moment of the resurrection that snapped this extraordinary image? I'm not much into relics or such things. I've been all over the world, have seen many of them, and most of them are fakes. But in my opinion, the Shroud of Turin may well be the most remarkable material object on this planet. Pope Francis, without making any claims about the shroud, invites us to look upon the face imprinted there. The Pope says, "This face has eyes that are closed. It is the face of one who is dead, and yet mysteriously he is watching us and in silence speaks to us. The man of the shroud invites us to contemplate Jesus of Nazareth. This image impressed upon the cloth speaks to our heart and moves us to climb the hill of Calvary, to look upon the wood of the cross, and to immerse ourselves in the eloquent silence of love. Let us therefore allow ourselves to be reached by his look, which is directed not to our eyes, but to our heart. In silence, let us listen to what he has to say to us from beyond death itself. The Pope goes on to say, this disfigured face resembles all those faces of men and women marked by a life which does not respect their dignity, by war and violence which afflict the weakest. And yet at the same time, the face in the shroud conveys a great peace. This tortured body expresses a sovereign majesty. It is as if it let a restrained but powerful energy within it shine through, as if to say, have faith, do not lose hope. The power of God's love, the power of the risen one, overcomes all things. We may indeed be looking upon the original Selfie. We may well be beholding the image of Jesus himself. As scientific research progresses, this image may change our understanding of time and space, of history and of ourselves. But this Christ has left us a far more powerful image than the one on this ancient cloth. In that awesome moment of the triumph of life over death, this Selfie was transmitted, texted, tweeted to all of creation, transforming the very universe and imprinting itself upon the souls of men and women of every place and time. In this moment, the world and its laws were turned upside down. A new creation dawned, and the words of the poet Shelley were fulfilled. He lives, he wakes, 'tis death is dead, not he.